Hello and welcome to MLOps Minutes. So of course it's not hard on people and soft on code. It's the other way around. It's be hard on code and soft on people. So what's happening is that in the previous episode we implemented the code for the extraction module step, the first stage of the pipeline, and we started making a pull request. Now I have to get it validated. But there's hardly anyone in the company today. The only person present is Robert Carey. And Robert Carey, I can tell you, he's not convenient. He's friends with the head of the company. He's in his 50s. And what's more, from what I hear, he's been in prison. He just got out of prison for murder. So I'm not very confident. Another rumor is that Elizabeth has been missing for a month. We don't hear from her anymore. Apparently she was arguing with him because she said, "It's my code, I don't share my code with you. You make do with your code." They argued, and she hasn't heard from him since. So that's not what she's become. We send her messages, she doesn't reply. So I'm pretty much in the throttle today. So what I did was my pull request that we did in the previous episode, I sent to Robert, and Robert gave me some feedback. First of all, it gave me some feedback because I created a new workflow.yaml file. He told me that PyLint, we don't use PyLint in the Compagnie today, but rather Flake 8 with custom rules, company rules. So I said to him, "Can I delete this file for the time being?" And he configured all this for me in another pull request. He replied, "Okay." Then it detected that there was a useless file there. Great, I deleted it. He made another remark because I have a little hat on coverage on the coverage module in the extraction module, the Py project on .toml. He said, "It's better to always freeze dependencies." Well, okay, that's no problem. I'll do it. You should know that I saw a show yesterday. About a quarter of the population are psychopaths. That's pretty scary. And here in the tests, he wasn't nice, he wasn't easy. He bluntly said, "Your code is crap!" exclamation mark with 3 points. So that's a bit scary. It's not very pleasant. Reading your test, I'm not able to understand what the code does. Your search should enable me to understand quickly what's expected. The test file is the first thing I look at during a pull request. Secondly, your test is not unitary. This means that your code behind it is not clean and coupled. If you need help making the code clean, call me. That at least is constructive. You can simplify PDF file names to get straight to the point and eliminate unnecessary noise. Yes, I have a guide in my PDF name, so maybe I don't need all that. What happens is that I'm pressed for time and I'm asked to deliver right away. I replied, "Yes, but it works. They're asking me to deliver right away because it's urgent. Can I keep it like that?" He immediately replied, "No, I'll come and see you in 5 minutes." And then the shock. What happens is that Robert comes up to me and immediately says, "If I ask you to jump out the window, will you jump out the window?" I told him, "Of course not. I'm not going to do that." He told me, "With the code, it's the same. Your responsibility is to make sure the code is clean and secure. Code quality and code security are non-negotiable." Why would you do that? Because imagine there's an incident in production, the application completely crashes, nothing works anymore. It's a major application that can cause the company to go bankrupt. If your colleagues arrive, you're on vacation, and it takes them 4 days to fix and relaunch, that's likely to scare off all the customers who, in my opinion, are logically going to leave, and that's going to make company to go bankrupt. So code quality is your responsibility and it's non-negotiable. So I understood. He suggested I do some peer programming. We sat down side by side, he sat next to me, and I coded. He started telling me, "You can watch a great show called MLOps Minutes." And like that, there are episodes on how to set up unit tests properly. You can watch it. But we did this first exercise together. First, we renamed the PDF files to APDF and BPDF. And what we've done is set up dependency injection. Here, we're only going to look at the test because the test itself speaks for itself. We've created an iData Manager interface with 3 methods: get PDF file, save image, create directory. For get PDF file, we continue to use the default implementation, which actually reads files from disk. So here are my real PDFs. Then for save image, we created a mock, and for create directory too, we've created an instance that inherits iData Manager dynamically. And we injected it into the extract image class constructor, which has a method, also extract image, that takes a parameter, an input directory and an output directory. And here in the asserts, what did we check? We've checked that create directory is called only once with the output directory path. And we've also checked that the save image method is called 3 times. And in the input parameters, we've checked the naming pattern of our images, because this is quite structuring for our training pipeline. We'll know that PDFA has 2 images, one on page 1 and one on page 2. And PDFB has a single image. Robert explained to me that what he does when he validates a pull request is that he actually takes the code. So he pulls the code onto his workstation, looks at the unit tests, and executes the code, which helps him understand what he's doing. And that's why, because if I'm not there, Robert will be able to modify the code and correct it fairly quickly. So this code is now very maintainable. What Robert explained to me was that this code is not my code, it's not your code, it's the company's code. If I'm not there, if I quit, etc., this code of the company will live on. It's only logical that it should be maintainable. The advantage of a pull request is that it's a real exchange, and it really helped me understand that. I was able to learn a lot from Robert, who really showed me all his points of view, which enabled me to improve my skills. As I'm a beginner, I wasn't able to upgrade Robert's skills very much, but at least he's aware of the features I've implemented and he'll be able to work on them if necessary and intervene, and that makes me really happy. I'm not going to talk about Elizabeth, but I think of her very strongly. We didn't push this code onto this branch. We created a new branch here, feature train extraction cleaned, which is a correction of the previous episode. I'll post it as a comment on the video, and feel free to take it for comparison. This is the correction of the previous episode. Thank you and see you soon for future videos.